Rachel, I am so excited to have you here today. Thank you for coming on. It is an honor. How are you doing today?
First off, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I'm having a good day. I can't tell you why. It's just one of those days where you wake up and you feel good. I feel good today.
Good. Well, I'm glad we're on your roster for today and we're going to keep it feeling good. I mean, I think
Yes.
that's the goal of today is to keep you in that space of joy. And that's really what this podcast is about and a perfect segue to like why we're talking and why we want to talk to you, which is getting to the joy, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always like an easy process, but it's a worthy one. And that's where I kind of want to start with you is that one of the things this podcast is about, when we talk about Black Girl Burnout, which we've all felt in our lives, we're
Hmm.
talking about this nature of like life is a struggle. And part of that comes from this need to be an overachiever. And I
Yeah.
love asking this question, especially to you, because we've already given your bio. So we already know you're a lawyer, you're a writer, you're now an actress, like you're a podcaster, you're doing all these different things. So I want to know how you have balanced that because it
Oh,
seems like I don't want to speak for you, but overachievement seems in your DNA. Like how are have you unlearned the cost that comes when you were like all about the achievement?
well, I do love this question and appreciate the space to speak on it. And I love that you said it seems like you're an overachiever because when I was a child, my dad said to me, like I came home excited about something and maybe it was like an A. And I was like, "Look what I got." And he said, "Well, you're a Lindsay. That's what you're supposed to do." And that is kind of what has been ingrained in me at a very young age. And honestly, was that the best advice? No, but that's what his father told him. And it's just been passed down from generation to generation. And I wore that like a badge of honor. I think that that's a gift and a curse. And so for so long, it was like, well, I just have to keep doing and doing and doing and doing what I'm supposed to and making my parents proud and, checking things off the list. And I reached a point, I feel like I've had 2 burnouts in my life. One was deciding to go on The Bachelor. It was a little bit of an escape and a burnout
Yes.
just because I chose myself first and I don't know if I had ever really done that in life, and I did what I wasn't supposed to, but I did what I needed to do, and that was a very selfish moment. And I feel like when you get to that burnout place, you you have to make a selfish decision. Like you're like, I'm gonna choose me. So that's how I balanced that one. And then the next one was really 2023. 2023 was a rough year for me personally and professionally. And my grandmother, who I lost at December 2023, used to always say, listen to your body. And my body was burnt out. And I was in such go mode. I look back on 2023 and before, and I thought, how did I do that? I was just in, like fight or flight. I was a robot. I was going from thing to thing and never had any space to just be until I just burnt out. So I think when you say, how did I balance it? I didn't. And I think that's the key. And I think Michelle Obama said something like that one time. Like the work life balance is a myth, it doesn't exist. And you either
Yes.
take a step back or you just hit a point where you just completely kind of fall apart and have to regroup and pick up the pieces. And I would say that I was somewhere in the middle. I was lying to myself that I could balance it. And the reality is, I didn't. And the moment that I did step away and start to reevaluate things, so many things started to change in my life.
And I think there's so much power to what you just said because there's so much impact there. One, I think everybody listening to the story has a similar story in the sense of depending on your background, you came home and your parents were like, that's just the standard, right?
Yeah.
A excellence is what we do. And you said it's like
Hmm.
part of it, Lindsay. Add it's part of being an African. If you're from African ancestry, that's what Caribbean people do. Whatever that caveat is, there's always some element of that. So that's one. And you just grow up thinking working harder, being the best is just minimum, which
Right.
is so incredibly destructive, right? Like you're just setting yourself up for burnout at that point. When like amazing is just the floor, what is
Right.
above amazing, right? Are you gonna supposed to like literally
Exactly.
fly around in your life? Like not possible. So there's that piece, and there is the lies we tell ourselves along the way,
Oh,
right? Not the friends we made, the lies, right? We've got it. Like we've got it. We're good. and we don't have it.
No, somebody told me recently the best lies we tell are the ones to ourselves. And that really resonated with me because I was like, no, I don't lie to myself. I'm very honest. I'm very self-aware. Nope, I'm a liar to myself. And when I started to think about it in that way, there's so many things in my life, both personally and professionally, that I was either trying to mask or, that I was lying to myself that it was one way when it really was right in my face that it was something different.
And there's a safety in the lie. I mean, let's be clear. Like, let's give ourselves some grace. There's a reason why we're lying to ourselves. Even like just hearing you, I'm like, girl, me too. Like, I lie. So my spectacular burnout, there were so many little lies I was telling myself, convincing
Oof.
myself that I was fine when I was not. And
Mhm.
it's because it was painful. Like, what we don't realize is that mantle that we're carrying of being perfect is so painful that the only way we're
Mhm.
coping and escaping it is through the lies. Like, we're not doing it on purpose. It's
Yeah.
just less painful to be in the fantasy that everything is going okay.
Painful is such a powerful word because that's exactly what it is. When I had my burnout in 2023, I was running away from dealing with certain things. And what again, whether it was like at work or whether it was at home. And because it was hard, it was uncomfortable. I didn't want to do it. And I was afraid to do it. There was a lot of fear in that. It was, this is what I know I can control. So this is what I'm going to do. And the moment that I just hit my wall and I completely was like, I have to take a step back. Like, I did truly burn out in the fall of 2023. I had very honest conversations and they were very hard to do. And I was, in a sense, faced with the reality of my situation in a way that I never had been before.
And I think that's the part, but it's like getting through that is so freeing. And so
Oh,
like you can't imagine it on the one side. Like, let's be clear, like on
mhm,
the other side, you're like, this is the worst moment of my life. I know with
right.
my spectacular burnout, I tell people I was in a puddle on the floor, literally sobbing. I'm like, it can't get no lower. This is the worst of the worst. But now on the other side of that, I can't remember that woman. Like, I think to that
Mhm,
woman, I'm like, I wish I would have held you because, like, literally, when you faced it 2 months later, even you were a
yeah.
different, more put together person. And that's the part that we forget when we're in it, right? Like, you
Mhm.
forget. I mean, now, like, just quickly, like for yourself now, how different is it from that moment in 2023 to now?
Oh my gosh. I am so much lighter that people see it. People constantly keep telling me, and this is not to brag, I am not tooting my own horn. People are like, "Oh, you look so great." And I'm like, "Oh, it's the bob, it's the new haircut." And they're like, "No, there's some kind of energy that you're giving that really is so much lighter." And I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize that, my job was weighing on me, that other things were weighing on me, and I was carrying that. And then when I let it go, I truly feel like I'm flying and I don't know what's next. Somebody said to me that in this space that I'm in currently, they said, "Don't hold on, don't look at the past because it'll hold you back. Don't look at, because we have a tendency to romanticize the past of like,
Oh,
oh,
yes.
remember when, remember this, when it was never that good."
Never,
And then
never.
never. And they said, don't look at the future because it'll give you anxiety, which is something that I deal with because I'm a control freak and I want to figure out exactly how a situation is going to play out and how it's going to go. And she said, stay in the present. Every day you survive and every day you get stronger. And that's like a mantra I say to myself every single day. And it makes me, I mean, how did I start off this podcast? I feel good. I said, what's happened to me? Nothing. I just woke up feeling lighter, more free. There's so many possibilities out there. And I did not feel this one bit in 2023. Not one
Yeah.
time.
No, because when you're in it, it's the opposite, right? And the ultimate
Mhm,
glow up to me is releasing. It's like letting
mhm.
go of what weighs you down. That is the glow up. Like, everybody starts looking better. I mean, you got a glow about you, seriously. Like, and I notice this over and over and over again with folks, especially people in the public eye. I can see physically because we see pictures. And I'm like, did
Mhm.
this person get like a new skincare routine? What is happening to
No,
them?
y'all.
They look Amazing. And it is the releasing and putting down of what's not yours to carry, of what
Mhm.
weighs you down. Like there is this moment that you cannot help but like you're just feel more alive and in your body.
Yes, and when you release those things, then you cover other things that you might not have been able to give time and attention to before. So whether it's self-care, I have had made memories with friends and hung out with them. I've been with my family way more often. There were certain things that I wasn't allowing myself to do. I was holding myself back with other things that I was going through. And now I'm just cultivating so many more things in my life, whether it's a new hobby, an old hobby, a friendship, family, time. It's just so much better. So much better.
And it's being open to that, right? Like, so for
Mhm.
me, I tell people, like, what are my affirmations for the year? And for me, I really do believe like our true inheritance is, as Black women, is abundance and joy. And so, connected to that is this mantra I say for myself, which is that there is more and more and still more. And I always say that to myself when
Mm,
I start feeling like anxious or there's not
I
enough, or
like
I'm going to
that.
letting go of something, that release is going to be
Mhm,
costly. And it's like,
mhm.
no, you let go and then the more came rushing in,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh, I
there's so
like
much
that.
more in your life.
Hmm, I like that a lot.
It's true.
I'm gonna write that on my dry erase board.
It's true though, there's more and more and still more. And it's in the letting go that you have access to it. And
Mhm.
that's the like the key moment I want everyone, like that's my mission. It's like to get everyone to tap into that key moment because you have to make a choice. And so
Yeah.
I want us to now move. I want us to come back and talk about that choice you made to pursue rest and renewal, right? That's what you framed it as. You had to
Mhm.
make that choice. I want to hear about when we come back why you made it, what you learned from it. So, more to come with Rachel as we dive into the choice that she made to free herself, take a step back, and what she has learned from that process.